Well, good evening. Happy Monday to everybody. This is Paris Prokopis. Welcome to the Paris Prokopis Show. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to share with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to, like everyone else is saying, be sure to smash that like button. And of course, turn on the bell so you get alerted every time I go on. So make sure you follow me or whatever. How are you guys doing after the most amazing Super Bowl with halftime show that was so incredibly choreographed and exciting? And okay, I can't say that with a straight face. I'm just what. Okay, I haven't been watching much NFL lately. Just been kind of bored with it and everything else. Oh my goodness. Starts the stonks are up. What are stonks? Okay, come on, Paris. All right, Sarah Ann. Sarah, you want to come on the show? Are you feeling feisty tonight? Darlene, hello, Darlene, and Ed. Aren't you still doing your show? So, well, if you're not doing your show, we'll have to get you on my show. I didn't realize you were going on. I caught the tail end of your show, so I will have to get on there. But anyway, I'm just, be sure to chime in, give me your opinions of last night's Super Bowl. I'm going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff tonight. Stuff like unity. And of course, I want to talk about the Democrat plan to save the election, of course. And, their collusion and everything. Time Magazine wrote an interesting article. A lot of people are talking about it. I'm going to be no different. I'm going to talk about it as well, where they basically said straight out what they did. But it isn't so much what they did. It's what the Republicans didn't do because it was either deliberate or it was incompetence or all the above. Maybe it was deliberate incompetence. Who knows? So I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then I'll get into a little football. Actually, I was going to do that at the end of the night, at the end of my show. I might actually do it at the beginning of my show here. It's a tradition every year around Super Bowl time, before or after, whatever like that. I talk about a very important figure in football, because he's also a very important figure in business and in the government and everything, and our country as a whole. And I'll talk about that a little bit. But I do want to get on this about, usually I like Super Bowl commercials. I'm in the advertising world and communication world, and I love some of the commercials. The commercials are always great and out there. And, I do have to tell you, I love the revival of Beavis and Butthead. That was awesome seeing them. And they were, skirting the edges of tastefulness as per usual. And then it was, a little nostalgic seeing Wayne's World, Wayne and Garth. And, God, Dana Carvey, he's aged a lot, but I guess that's what happens in life. It's really, really fun. Hello, Shannon. Hello. Sarah's watching me in bed. I should put on some sassy music here. Welcome to the Paris Prokopis Show. All right. That was my dreamy voice. Am I going to the Boondocks tomorrow? I don't know what you're talking about, so I don't think I am, as far as I know. Hello, Stephanie. How are you? Is it Stephanie, Sarah, or who is she? Who will she be today? Nice to see you. Long time to talk to. I know life's been really crazy. Love to see what's going on up north. How cold is it up there? We're right around 0 right now in Wisconsin. Actually, my iPhone literally says -0. Paris, you need a girlfriend. You have no idea. But actually, you do have an idea. Yeah. But not so badly that I would consider Ed Delgado. It's just not going to happen. So, but anyway, I digress a lot. So we're talking about the Super Bowl commercials, and they were just really, really lame this year. I didn't really chuckle. I chuckled at Beavis and Butthead. That was the highlight of the night. And then, of course, the halftime show, I even put this on Facebook. It was the most uninspired halftime show I'd ever seen. It was boring. Usually there's, and there have been better shows than others over the years, but usually there's really cool choreography. There's all kinds of stuff. All they did was sit there and did a little dancing in place. And everybody wore those things that look like jock straps, but I have a different point of view of that. But I will not be talking about that tonight because I don't want to tip my hand about my article that I'm writing. So I'm writing an article. Hopefully it's good enough to make it into Wisconsin Right Now and on Conservative Digest and everything like that. But I will be. And Carolina didn't watch any football yesterday. Oh, Carolina, were you otherwise occupied? I hope so. Yes, you do, Ed Delgado. You have bedroom eyes. You've got that dreamy voice that just, makes the ladies crumble. I have to bring you on tonight to let them crumble. But first, everybody gets to listen to my beautiful Greek voice because everybody's heard of Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi is probably the most influential football coach in the history of the NFL. And it was because he played to win. It didn't matter. Everybody talks about the Ice Bowl as the biggest game of the century. The Ice Bowl was the Green Bay Packers versus the Dallas Cowboys on the frozen tundra, and it was like 4th and inches. And there was just seconds left on the clock. And they could have gone for the field goal to tie the game and put it into overtime. And Vince Lombardi basically said, this is where it ends right now. They made a stand and they played to win. And by golly, they won. It was a quarterback sneak. Bart Starr jumped over, made the touchdown. The rest is history. And it wasn't even it wasn't a Super Bowl or anything like that. It was just like a championship game. And it was, always nice the fact that we beat the Dallas Cowboys. And and everybody talks about it, thinks about it. And of course, the stadium must have held 400,000 people in there because there's so many people said they were there at the Ice Bowl when I was at the Ice Bowl. And I served in Vietnam. And most recently, I was in the Capitol building as a congressman. And, people stormed the Capitol and tried to kill me. Yeah. Thank you, AOC. And who's that reporter? Brian Williams or whatever his name is. But yeah. And back when I was on the Kennedy Secret Service detail, watch the FBI come to my door tomorrow because I said I was no, I wasn't at the Capitol. I was here and I have an alibi. So, anyway, Vince Lombardi, he gave a speech many years ago. And this speech has lived throughout the ages because of the fact that it's so inspirational and can be applied to anything. Me coming from the business world, I've been in, corporate America for a very long time. And we always use his words, sentences from there. There's like 15 paragraphs on this thing, but you can just let it, everything can be applied to governments, to people, day-to-day life, to football, to any other sports, to America. And this is where I want to go on there. We're on this perceived downswing, but there's something about this country. I refuse to be so negative. It looks bleak. It's scary out there right now and everything like that. But I'm telling you, we will overcome this. We've overcome so much as a country. We had a couple guys sitting in the tavern basically creating the United States of America. So little things matter. And this is I'm going to read it and comment on it. What it takes to be number one. Everybody's probably heard of the speech. I'm going to pull out my trusty iPad Pro. I've got the big iPad Pro, and they said size didn't matter. But here we are. Yes, I went there. So what? It's my show. Ha. So winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all the time thing. You don't win once in a while. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit, but unfortunately, so is losing. There is no room for second place. There is only one place in my game, and that's first place. I have finished second twice in my time in Green Bay, and I don't ever want to finish again. There is a second place bowl game. Excuse me. But it's a game for losers, and it's played by losers. It is and always has been an American zeal to be the first in anything we do, and to win and to win and to win. Every time a football player goes to ply his trade, he's got to play from the ground up, from the soles of his feet right up to his head. Every inch of him has to play. Some guys play with their heads. That's okay. You've got to be smart to be number one in any business. But more importantly, you've got to play with your heart, with every fiber of your body. If you're lucky enough to find a guy with a lot of head and a lot of heart, he's never going to come off the field second. Running a football team is no different than running any other kind of organization, an army, a political party, or a business. The principles are the same. The object is to win, to beat the other guy. Maybe it sounds hard and cruel. I don't think it is. It is a reality of life that men are competitive, and the most competitive games draw the most competitive men. That's why they're there, to compete. The object is to win fairly, squarely, by the rules, but to win. And in truth, I've never known a man worth his salt in the long run, deep down in his heart, that didn't appreciate the grind, the discipline. There is something in good men that really yearns for discipline and the harsh reality of head-to-head combat. And he continues, I don't say these things because I believe in the brute nature of men, or that men must be brutalized to be combative. I believe in God. I believe in human decency. But I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, his greatest fulfillment to all he holds dear, is that moment when he's worked his heart out in a good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle, victorious. And that's where we are as a country right now. We're at a point in our history where we are literally at the defining moment of whether or not we have the heart to fight this cause. And I'm not saying, go hand to hand and, take up arms and go, basically destroy the country. What I'm saying, they've drawn the battle lines. They've set the field of battle. They've set the rules of engagement. But the Republicans are not very good at playing by those rules for whatever reason. They're cowardly and supposedly, we're more sophisticated and stuff like that. But sometimes you have to play to win. President Trump played to win. And some would argue that he did win the election. In the end, right now, we have President Biden. It is what it is. But he never gave up the fight. The problem is, too many of us did. Too many of the Republicans did. Long before a single ballot was cast. Long before a single ballot was mailed. The Democrats kept doing every little thing to set the stage. Everything from the fact that they control social media, which is this anomaly that, Barack Obama used brilliantly in 2008 and to some extent 2012, and Donald Trump used excessively well in 2016. Caught them by surprise. Nobody expected Donald Trump to win. Even those of us who supported him were probably like, yeah, he's probably not going to win, but we're going to fight. There's something different about this guy. And oh, lo and behold, and that's what we're finding. But the Democrats were cheating. And I'm not talking about casting ballots. They were doing things that were against the constitutional. I don't need to prove a single ballot was cast fraudulently to show that we actually have things that happened this election cycle that were unconstitutional. Things like governors and judges and unelected officials making decisions on how to do certain things when the Constitution specifically defines the state legislatures as the determiners of how and when and by what means ballots are counted, et cetera, et cetera. But I think, and Darlene, I should be, Ed Delgado, you should be on the radio. You have a great voice. We're well off the cliff. I don't agree with you. I'm gonna have to go up there and kick your ass just for saying that. Yes, we need to keep the faith. Actually, I'm gonna have Stephanie go kick your ass, Ed. Yeah, Darlene agrees with Stephanie. Oh, Darlene and Stephanie going to kick Ed's ass. That'd be kind of fun. Okay, I want video of that. Let's see. Yeah, the left has already destroyed the country. We need to fight to restore our country. To some extent, you're right, but I don't think they've completely destroyed this country. I think they've taken the reins of power. But sometimes getting to the top of the mountain is easy. Staying at the top of the mountain is difficult. And that's, I don't know. I'm not going to get this down. The problem is we got too many people saying, I give up. Why bother voting? Why bother participating and stuff like that? And it's, we can't think that way. That's what the Democrats want from us. They want compliance. They want, I'm going to show you something. And this is the most ironic thing that I came across today. I was going through videos, and everyone knows I've always been an Apple fan. I'm not so much of a fan of them lately and that type of thing. And let's see, I'm going to try this share a video file. No, I can't do it that way. Well, I got to share it as a YouTube video. I'll do it this way. I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me for a second. Going to share our audio. This is the very first commercial for an Apple Macintosh back in 1984. Ironic for the year, but it's kind of in the backdrop of George Orwell's 1984. Watch this.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. Created for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of any contradictory thoughts. Unification of the laws is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
I had to play that because some of you are probably too young to have seen it. But the reason why I'm playing that is it's these technology companies have gotten to the point where they have become what they were fighting against. The whole point of that video was nonconformity. Apple was not going to conform with the IBM giant and stuff like that. And we even heard it like in music of the day, Pink Floyd's The Wall. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. You know, it's all about, once again, conformity and everything like that. And suddenly all these entities have become the people who are pushing for conformity. This is like the Borg in Star Trek. And I make fun of that. I sometimes show a picture of me as one of the Borg in Star Trek. There it is. Yes, I've been assimilated. Resistance is futile. I am Paris. No, we are Paris. Prepare to be assimilated. But anyway, that's what they want. They want us all in one collective thought, one collective saying. So what they did, what Apple and Twitter and to some extent Microsoft, Google, all these, Facebook, all these people that control, all these entities that control the flow of information. Yes, they're private companies, but they still control the flow of public information. And they determine what is good, what is right, according to their way of thinking. Misinformation. Suddenly, if it's something I disagree with, it's misinformation. That's what, if it's something Apple disagrees with, it's misinformation. Apple likes the iPhone. Google likes the Samsung S21. Does that mean Samsung is pushing misinformation? It sounds like such a trivial thing, but this is what's happening. And there's this Time Magazine article that just came out of the blue, and it was just really, really crazy. Oh, I completely missed something. I need to go back to football for a second. Then I'll go to the Time Magazine article. I completely missed this. The whole point I wanted to get to. See, this is what happens. You guys distract me. I love the distraction, so keep talking. One of my favorite commercials and became my most hated commercial. It was, oddly enough, I didn't realize who it was because he really aged, but it was Bruce Springsteen in this commercial it ended up being a Jeep commercial. And it was cool. It was talking about how we're all, we all have the same freedom. We all have the same, we all breathe the same patriotism or whatever, all this stuff. It was good stuff. Very powerful thing. In the end, we're Americans, some commonality. And suddenly it ends with a reunited America. What in the actual fuck was that? Pardon my language. I can't think of any other way to say that. A reunited America. First of all, if they had lost according to the official tallies, official, unofficial tallies, if they had lost, they would not be saying that. They're full of crap. So if they had lost, we're not united. When they win, the government is sound, the election system works. When they lose, the election system's dead, the election system's broken. They are such raving hypocrites. And Bruce Springsteen is one of the biggest hypocrites. He's the most left-wing nut job. They show him going into this coffee cafe or whatever that he's never going to go into because he's too good for that. He's got his own servants that'll send to that. The fact is, we are a redivided America, and we're getting more and more divided. And Joe Biden better hear that by his moment of silence that was silent for all of a half a second because people started to boo his ass. So anyway, yeah, that's my rant on Bruce Springsteen. He can go pound sand, but I want to talk about this. I'll share the article on my screen. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to grab some bits and pieces of it, but it's fascinating that this article, you can read it. It's in Time Magazine. The secret history of the shadow campaign that saved, quote unquote, the 2020 election. You know, the nation was braced for chaos. Liberal groups had vowed to take to the streets, planning hundreds of thousands of protests across the country. Right-wing militias were grinding for battle, or girding for battle. And a poll before the election day, 75% of Americans voiced concerns about violence. Yes, because they were threatening us. If we don't get our way, we're going to riot. But anyway, this reporter wrote this article, and she talks about the and Trump wasn't attempting to reverse the result. Obviously he wanted to reverse the result. His attempt was to get the freaking votes counted and all the questions answered. And it never happened. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint a winner, even while many key states were still being counted. In a way, Trump was right. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. The pact was formalized in a terse, little notice joint statement of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the AFL-CIO published on Election Day. Both sides would come to see it as sort of an implicit bargain inspired by the protests and stuff like that over that. The handshake between business and labor was just one component of a vast cross-partisan campaign that's included the Lincoln Project Republicans to protect the election. No, it was to protect basically all the strings they pulled to get the election done. But you've got the liberal media literally admitting what they did. Some of the stuff they did was actually not illegal. And the Republican leadership let it happen. There were things that were allowed to happen that we had months to get rid of or prepare for or anything. But it just wasn't to happen because the Republican leadership in many states is very feckless. And let's be real, some people were afraid of riots and violence. Well, I like to see how Joe Biden has been able to prevent all kinds of violence. There's no violence anywhere. There's no violence out in Washington, D.C. as we speak, when you have Antifa marching down the streets saying, burn it all down. Why are they not being rounded up and arrested? There was an article in the Gateway Pundit about an acquaintance of mine who I worked with in the past, who happens to work in Washington, D.C. He lives in North Carolina. But of course, because he happens to work in Washington, D.C., he was automatically associated with being at the Capitol. And the FBI showed up at his house and gave the nudge, nudge, wink, wink to his wife. Well, you wouldn't really do these sort of things, would you? Kind of basically saying, we're watching you. And so in the midst of all that, stuff like that, you get Antifa literally calling for the overthrow of the United States government. I speak 3 languages and I'm all tongue-tied. Anyway, Antifa does not care if you're Republican or Democrat. They want to overthrow the government of the United States, our government. The Republican government, the Democrat government, they want to overthrow it. Why is the FBI not arresting them for inciting violence, inciting an insurrection? Yeah, Bank of America is to release info on the feds to the feds of anyone who is in DC on January 6th. Think about it. In San Bernardino, California, a few years back, a friend of mine was killed by a terrorist attack. And the gunman was killed. And they got his phone. And they went to court in an attempt to try to get Apple to unlock one phone so they can find out more information than any other possible terrorist attacks. Apple will not do it. Even though it's possible to do. Ultimately, the FBI was able to do it. But Apple cared more for its left-wing agenda than it did for the protection of this country from people who want to harm us. Which is really sad when you look at that commercial. You know, Steve Jobs represented individual thought, uniqueness, quality. Apple makes quality products. Well, they used to, for the most part. And they still, they aren't innovating as much as they used to. Steve Jobs has to be rolling over in his grave after what Apple has become underneath the tutelage of ultra left-wing zealot Tim Cook. But it's really sad. I'm going to rant here because we've got such hypocrisy happening. And people are allowing it to happen. And the Republicans, there's some Republican leadership there. There's a recent poll. You can read about it in the Blaze media. It was like 67%, 64, 65% of Republicans would actually leave the GOP for a new third party founded by Trump if Trump were to officially find one and make one or do whatever. But the Republicans are going to lose power. And the Democrats are going to get it. And that's the silver lining in some of this. We'll get rid of some feckless leadership, but also the Democrats are at a point where they have to put up and shut up, because President Trump proved one thing. He proved that throughout adversity, you can still get stuff done. Look at all he was able to accomplish when he had a Paul Ryan as Speaker of the House blocking almost everything he wanted to accomplish. The only reason Paul Ryan got the tax cut passed because that's something we all wanted. Every Republican wanted. Most Democrats wanted that too, even though none voted for it. But or some actually did, I think. But we're so busy worried about those 545 people on Capitol Hill. The president, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the Supreme Court. When in reality, everything is local. We need people running for more local offices and doing more. But going back to the presidency, there are some other people. Obviously, you've got Don Jr. talking about, we're not done yet. The movement my father started is not over yet. And I typically don't support the idea of an aristocracy. But you know what? At this point, there's nobody I would support running for president except for a Trump on the ballot. Unless there's a couple more people that I would consider. Kristi Noem. You know, I'm a little concerned with Nikki Haley, but I'd still kind of consider her. And then, of course, there's one young lady who I think would when the rumor came out today that she's actually considering running for president, I'm like, that would be one hell of a ticket to have. This young lady, yes, Candace Owens, says she's thinking about running for president. She's 32 and she'd be old enough to run in 2024. Maybe it's time to have someone really young run for president. The beauty of that is they haven't been around long enough to develop any bad habits. Fresh ideas. She'd appeal to a younger crowd. I mean, look at Joe Biden, for crying out loud. And she has a personality. She's pleasant. And she's the kind of person that'll rip you to shreds and you'll thank her for it because she has that much finesse. She'd be a good balance to, let's say, a Don Jr. as a running mate, or maybe Ivanka Trump, just because. I don't care. I want a Trump on the ticket for one reason. It'll piss off the liberals. And it'll piss off the pedophile Lincoln Project people as well. And that's what I like. Uh-oh. CB. All right. Why should Apple have been compelled to provide a backdoor access to their product? They could have unlocked one device to protect the lives of others. Because I'm certain there was information on that phone that would have led to others. So, yeah, it was his private property, but he's also a gunman. He's whatchamacallit. He's a terrorist, for crying out loud. He killed people, so he loses those rights. That's just my opinion. But yeah, our first fight. Yep. I agree with you. I don't think Trump will do a third party. I actually think what it is, and the reason why I say that, 64% of the party would actually leave if Trump started a third party. We're not going to have a third party. It's what we call leverage. The fact that we can and guarantee that they all lose, it's scary having them quaking in their boots. There's a lot of people who get it, and we'll see. Yeah, and I don't know where it ends. Just the one time, when does it stop? Slippery slope? No, I don't think so. I think the conditions made it so. In a specific situation, it made it so. Not every, if it's some drug dealer who they're trying to find out who the drug kingpin is, well, tough luck. But this was a matter of national security, in my opinion. But yeah, who knows? We'll have to agree to disagree on that. Yeah, no, I don't think you're talking about Candace Owens, but I think Candace would be a great VP choice. And she's exciting, and she's young, she's vivacious. And then there's clean out the GOP. We got the other opinion. Well, we can still clean out the GOP. But this isn't like the libertarians leaving the GOP. The libertarians left the GOP and they were like 5%, 4%, whatever. Very insignificant. if we were to leave the GOP, we'll give them, let's see what they do the next year or so. Let's see where things are going. And obviously we have to do everything we can to return them back to power in 2 years. And then we'll see. It's not like we have to do a third party today. We just have to form a third party. If it comes to that, a third party would be formed December of 2023. Uh-oh. What's disgusting? Melanie, be nice to Stephanie. I didn't see what Stephanie said. Is Stephanie making people angry again? She does that sometimes. So where are we? What else do I want to talk about? Oh. Oh, guess what? This is where the world's coming to. Just wait. Now, instead of masks, you now get your own personal microclimate. How many of you want your own microclimate? Check this out. See, you can have your own. See, I like this because you can see my perfect smile. Can you believe it? This is coming, people. This is coming. I can't believe it. I mean, you gotta love this company for innovating, but it's like something right out of a sci-fi movie where everybody had to wear a mask. It's scary times. This scares me. I mean, the mask is bigger than just having to cover your face to protect you from germs. There's a lot more to this. But of course, guess what the Democrats are doing in New York City? They're contesting an election. The Democrats claim an election may have been stolen, that voting machines may have been undercounted, and thousands of Democrat ballots and oppose certifying the results of the election until such allegations can be investigated. This is Democrats saying this because, of course, the Democrat lost. Look at this. Voting machines had been undercounted ballots in a race between incumbent Anthony Brindisi in New York City, excuse me, and a GOP challenger, Claudia Tenney. And I think she won by 100. Yeah, she's 109 votes ahead. And for those of you who don't vote because your vote doesn't count, bullshit. This is exactly why you need to vote. But we shall see. Yes, I agree. We should primary them all. We got to see what's going to happen. Liz Cheney for president. I know you're being facetious. Yep. And it all starts with something small. Our very country started with something small. And that's what you guys have to get out there and get to work. Start running for the school boards and local city offices and stuff like that before cities are lost. The city I live in, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, is lost. It's gone. People are leaving Wauwatosa, Wisconsin in droves. And what about weed? Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, rumor has it that Tony Evers is wanting to put marijuana he wants to add it to the budget. Basically knowing that the Republicans will never go for it, legalizing pot in the state of Wisconsin. Because after all, everybody knows that the Evers team putting marijuana on a referendum, a non-binding referendum. Of course, all these potheads were like, what? I still can't smoke pot? You know, they're idiots. But anyway, that really helped get people out in Madison and in Milwaukee, and that helped them win. Of course, I think there were other reasons Evers won too, but we won't get into that here because I don't want my video to get demonetized. But Great question, Orlando. I'm about to get to it. How do we offset the weed turnout? You know, the Republicans are constantly preaching how we want the government out of our lives and how we can't have a nanny state and the government can't protect you against yourself for everything. Do it. Legalize pot. Get rid of it. Get rid of the issue. And I told them they needed to legalize it when we still had Republican Assembly and Republican governor. Nobody listened to me. When I found out the Democrats are putting those referendums on the ballot, they needed to immediately come to session to legalize pot. That would have taken the issue off the table, and we might have a whole different state of Wisconsin as right now. But I think the Republicans should go along with legalizing pot. Like it or not. I get it. It's a difficult subject. Pot is a gateway drug, stuff like that. It is. But there's, we've got to pick our battles. Alcohol's addictive. It's still legal. Kids still get drunk, even though it's against the law for them to drink. We know how bands help everything. But really, this is the state of Wisconsin. I think it's possible. We got to start fighting fire with fire, and that's the problem. We don't get creative like that. No, we're against pot. We're against it. Really, at this point, people are doing it anyway. Our jails are overcrowding with people with pot offenses. Let's take pot off the table. That's just my thought. Yeah, man. Well, everybody knows the most spoken word in the 1960s was the word ear. Well, it might keep the libertarians from coming out too, so that'll be a good thing. But seriously, the most spoken word in the 1960s was ear. E-air. Ear. Everybody said ear in the 1960s. See? Ear. Yeah. Anyway, that's my bad joke for the day. Yep. The Republicans don't want to fight. That's the problem. They're resting on, and actually, what success did the Walker administration have? Let's be honest. We've got voter ID laws that are basically crap because they left loopholes for people. And that's how Trump lost. There were loopholes. It gave them an opportunity to do this mail-in voting crap with the what is that, with the indefinitely confined. That all came from the Walker voter ID law. They never did a dang thing to address the issue with college students who don't live in the state of Wisconsin who are voting and then still voting at home in their own home state. And let's talk about Act 10. The one and only reform he ran his entire presidential campaign on. Yeah, we had Act 10. Yeah, they stormed the Capitol. Yeah, we fought our asses to keep them from recalling him. And how did he pay us back? He stopped. He stopped fighting for us. Yeah, we got a couple other laws, but they weren't the greatest. Even right to work was watered down. But what did Act 10 get us? Act 10 was there to offset the cost of cuts to education. because we were spending too much money on education and getting nothing for it, which I completely supported. But then in the very next budget, the liberals were asking for $100 per student more in school spending. And wouldn't you know it, the Republican-controlled legislature and Scott Walker gave them $150 per student. And then two years later, same thing, more spending on student. Not one bit of accountability. Yeah, we got a couple good things out of Act 10. The unions still kind of, got their power taken away from them a little bit and stuff like that. But let's be real. I bet you there's an Act 10 case going right through our Supreme Court anyway. What are the odds of it, Act 10 even staying in existence sometime soon? The unions are going to come roaring back into power, and that's it. So we got the ability for, excuse me, it made union membership voluntary, and that's basically why it became so controversial. Whatever. So I did one issue. So really, in 8 years of full Republican control, what did we win? My property tax bill on my home over that 8-year span probably went down about $500 a year at the most. And that all got washed away because we had a stupid referendum. But income taxes didn't go down. We're still a tax hell in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, I'm not saying this to, some people tried. Why do we still have minimum markup in this state? Why did we still have Common Core in this state? And we had full Republican control. We had a beating heart abortion bill that didn't get sent to the governor's desk until the governor was Tony Evers, when they knew he wouldn't sign it. That was an issue while Walker was still governor. So yeah, no, I'm a little frustrated. But yes, these guys are all high-fiving each other because the Republicans still have a majority in the legislature, but we're doing nothing with it. We had hearings talking about the voter irregularities in the state. And I use the irregularities in quote. We know what it really was. But I can't say that because I don't want my video to get taken off. But we really need to do something about these voting issues. The Supreme Court kind of took care of indefinitely confined. They won't be able to use that next time. Or maybe they'll use it anyway because they said, yeah, you can challenge indefinitely confined ballots, but you have to do it individually. And that was back in late November or whatever. The Supreme Court ruled on it. We even got Hagedorn to roll with us. But no, not a single ballot was challenged. Individual ballot. They could have gotten 30,000 ballots removed because at least they could have gotten over 100,000 removed. I guarantee most of those would have been for all right. Yeah, they're too chilled to get violent. So, yeah, I'm not saying it's a good thing one way or another, but if we decriminalize it, then we're in a better position. Oh, wow. This just came out. Oh, is that funny? Check this out. Of all people who's pushing it. Let me go into here and I got to share my screen again. I know you guys are getting tired of me sharing my screen because you want to look at my beautiful face. I know. I get it. Let me go share screen. And here we go. Check this out. This just literally came out on my news feed. If you are on Wisconsin right now, check it out. Wisconsin Right Now is run by Jessica McBride and Jim Pivovarchuk. I think that's how you pronounce it. I hope I didn't murder your name, Jim. Every once in a while, he watches my show, but here we go. I'm being blunt. Yes, no pun intended. Barnes uses plans to push marijuana. So Wisconsin's lieutenant governor is breaking out the plans to support Evers' push for legal marijuana in the state. You know, and this is it. This is happening. This is I was just talking about this. I'm so brilliant sometimes. I love it. Okay. Literally, this article I got an alert for it just now. So thank you, Jessica or Jim or whoever wrote it. The Center Square. I don't know who that is. But yeah, Wisconsin Right Now. Great resource for if you're not subscribed to it, wisconsinrightnow.com. I even have an article up there. I'll hopefully have a few more as we go along here. But it's very, very good stuff. Let me see if I can. Oops. Let me do a little shameless plug for my article on here. There I am. Look up my article on wisconsinrightnow.com, Our Dangerous Turning Point. And it was in regards to the storming of the Capitol and stuff like that. You can get on there. I wrote it on January 16th, so it's not that old. But check it out. Check it out. Wisconsin Right Now. Wow. Thank you. I love it when I'm credible. I heard rumors about it a couple days ago. Mandela Barnes is an interesting character. Those of you who are trying to push like Evers to resign and stuff like that, be careful what you wish for. You don't want Mandela Barnes as governor. If you think Evers is incompetent, Mandela Barnes is Evers on steroids. He makes Jimmy Carter look competent. And that's saying a lot. So really, it needs to... We got to temper this with common sense. You know, if there were to be a recall of Evers, and it's too late for that now, it really is. But if there were to be a recall, this is when they should have started gathering signatures for a recall. Not 6 months ago. That took attention away from work that needed to be done to reelect Donald Trump. So now that ship has sailed, and I hear other rumors of other recalls, and it's a dangerous situation. So there's people out there talking about recalling Brian Hagedorn. The Democrats would love this because then they get a chance to get a hardline liberal on there. I mean, Hagedorn may have. I mean, he's kind of screwed the pooch on a couple rulings out there, a few of them, but there's still always the chance he might be with us in some things. We know for sure that any Democrat that would win, any liberal that would win would never be on our side. We'd lose everything. And then what's to stop Brian Hagedorn from hearing about a recall against him and him saying, screw this, I don't need this. I want to take care of my family. And he could just quit. And if he quits, guess what happens? There is no recall election. Tony Evers gets to replace Brian Hagedorn with his own appointee. And you know when the special election is for replacing a Supreme Court justice? At the end of their term. Yep, that's right. It'd be another 7-8 years before you could vote them out of office at that point. So recall is very risky, people. Very risky. One step at a time. What we need to do is win this governor's race with a good fiscal conservative governor with some intestinal fortitude that's going to fight the fight. I don't know who that is yet. I like Bill McCoshen. I like Becky Cleafish as a person, but I really don't know her legislative background. And plus, I think she'd have a difficult time because of Scott Walker. There's some people talking about one of the Duffys, either Sean Duffy or his wife, Rachel Campos Duffy. I think Rachel would be an amazing governor because she's got charisma. She's attractive. She's smart. And she's got some fight in her. And I think she'd be a great governor. And she's also, Hispanic, and she's got, so she's got some of that, be the first time a Hispanic woman has ever won the governorship in the state of Wisconsin. So I like her. I like that idea. Some people are saying Ron Johnson's going to quit the Senate and run for governor. Maybe Ron Johnson would be a great governor as well. He's got that business background, and he's shown some ability to fight in Washington, especially this last term. He's really kicked some butt. All right. See, Jim Pivovarchuk. Did I pronounce that right? Pivovarchuk? Is that right? I hope. Tell me if I did it wrong, but yeah, Melanie, the first step in knowing you have a problem is admitting you have a problem. Just say, I'm just having fun with you. Thanks for chiming in. Let's make a deal for what we want. Yeah, we've got to negotiate. We've got to use our tools at our disposal. We got to play by their rules because damn well they're going to withhold something to negotiate for us. Absolutely. Absolutely, Orlando. Can the Feds just snatch up Barnes and let Wisconsin figure out what to do? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the Feds could do. I can't believe he won. There were some other qualified Democrats, if there's some, I still can't believe Tony Evers, of all people. I bet you Russ Feingold is regretting not running now, because I think everybody thought Walker was unbeatable. I think Evers on election night was like, what? I won? What do I do now? Okay. Yeah, that's... Gotta love it. Well, I appreciate you guys all joining in. We got to hear about Melanie's drug problem. We got to hear about Orlando wanting to negotiate weed for reforms. I love it. Ed Delgado has a dreamy radio voice, and CB and I are now going to have to kiss and make up. So oh yeah, daylight savings. And why does it still get cold in the winter? Damn it, Donald Trump. Why do you leave us in a situation where it gets cold in the winter? I mean, what's the temperature right now? -2? I don't know. I love it. Now, I appreciate you guys chiming in. I'm going to be signing off now. I'm at a little over an hour. Wow, this is a short show for me. And pretty nice watching. Make sure you share the word everybody about my show. I'm on literally every social media out there, everything from ThinkSpot to Gab to, oh God, I don't know, Tinder, Twitter. I'm on Tinder too, by the way, but anyway, Twitter, obviously Facebook, and everything. I'm literally at Paris Prokopis, my first and last name, at Paris Prokopis, PARIS, and except for YouTube, you're going to have to look me up because I haven't gotten to 1,000 followers yet. I'm like 300 right there now. I haven't been doing YouTube for that long. And so there, you just have to look at my name, and please like my videos and stuff. It really helps me out. I am sharing my videos on Rumble as well. So I am on Rumble. So make sure you follow Rumble. And remember to get out there and just keep the faith. We can do this. We can get through this. We survived Obama's folly. We will survive this. I know we will. And let's have a moment of silence for Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm still surprised she's alive. So she died sometime next week. But you gotta, what's going to happen with that ultimately? What will happen with her? And let's not forget about, there's Bernie. He stood out like a sore thumb. And of course, we've got, why isn't the media up in arms about the Joe Biden press secretary? I don't even know her name. She's so uninspiring. Why aren't they going after her for having this racist sign live on camera? Seriously, why aren't they going after her? Maybe they'll just have to circle back on it. Circle back with us on that. What do you think? And we got a cameo appearance. There he is, Bernie Sanders. Say hi, Bernie. And gotta love it. I digress. Let's see. Check out some last minute comments. I love you all. The female annoying orange. Okay. Yeah, Stephanie can't unsee that. Eek. Bernie, yikes. Feel the burn. That gives new meaning to feel the burn. What's my name again? David. When are you going to come on my show again, David? You always catch me as I'm winding down. And get you on. We'll have to plan like Wednesday night for you to come on. Yeah, Ed, we got to connect. I need to learn more about BitChute. It sounds like some sort of bad porno or something. I don't know. But I need to know more about that. The female annoying orange. I love it. Whenever you tell me, okay, I'll have you on because you got some things cooking out there too. Maybe David will run for lieutenant governor. Love it. All right. Well, guys, thank you. Have an awesome night. Keep the faith. Stay strong. We've got this. We can do this. For God's sake, do not back down. Don't give up. That's what they want. They want us to give up. You got this gun bill going out there, going around. And let's be real. They're going to get some limitations put on there. But in the end, they know they can't get away with a lot because if they even try mass gun confiscation, it's not going to end well because everybody will lose their gun in a boating accident. And, it's just not. There are things. Paris rumbles. Okay. Tune in Sunday. I'll get you all. So there it is. HR 127. It's not going to see the light of day. There's going to be a lot of Democrats that vote for it. There won't be a single Republican. And I think the Senate is safe because we only need Joe Manchin. And Joe Manchin is a senator from West Virginia. He's not going to support gun laws like this. He's just not. And there's even Kristen Sinema. Remember, she's been known to be a rebel occasionally, and she knows her constituents. She may be a little flaky on some things, but she's not a dumb woman. She knows her stuff. She's not going to support any massive gun confiscation, anti-Second Amendment type of laws. It's just not going to happen. So we will prevail. And even if they did succeed in getting some of these passed, all that's going to do is inspire. What we need to do is start fighting the culture war and start winning the culture war. Don't give up on messaging to people who need to hear the message. And I had an interaction with somebody over, I was at a Waukesha County Pints and Politics Internet. Had some good discussions, but you get some people that are so tied into their one issue. This young man, nice guy. He knows his stuff about guns. I like guns too. I have some myself. I love shooting. I love trap shooting. I love doing stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. But everything is, you got to pick your battles. There's a lot of passion about bump stocks. Oh, Trump was bad for guns because he banned bump stocks. Okay, fine. He banned bump stocks. Well, that's against the Second Amendment. Well, really, it's not. What do you mean? It's thou shalt not infringe. Well, actually, banning a bump stock is not infringing on your right to own that gun. You can still own a gun. You just can't have a bump stock. That's all it is. Do I really care one way or another? I don't know. I don't have a bump stock. Hell, you got other things that are much more efficient than bump stocks out there that are still legal. So stop whining over little things like that. You got to pick your battles. And that's ultimately, they're going to say, well, we got to go to arms. We got to get rid of all these people in Congress. We got to, fire AOC. We got to fire or get rid of Ilhan Omar, kind of like what they're trying to do to Congresswoman Green down in Georgia when they got her off all of her committees. She better not quit. Because those people voted for her. And let's be honest, we may like it or not. People voted for Ilhan Omar and people voted for AOC. So the only way they should be removed is through, unless they commit some sort of act of treason or something like that. But the only way they can be removed is their constituents need to vote them out. That's the way our system works. You either support being a constitutional republic or you don't. And as a republic, we elect representatives to represent us in Washington, D.C. It's the way a republic works. You hope they do the right thing. Sometimes they're going to do the wrong thing. And unfortunately, the way Congress is structured, you get a bill that has increases in salaries for military, but also increases in funding for Planned Parenthood. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you voted for it, you could say, I supported the military. But then you can also get people who supported you saying, but you supported Planned Parenthood. You should be kicked out of office. You're a rhino. You kind of have to weigh the good with the bad. It's a very difficult quandary to be in. But a constitutional republic is probably the most perfect form of government we can get to. And as such, it's not perfect. So the only thing we can do as citizens is we got to get involved. Stop just bitching about things. Get involved. This is my way of getting involved. I'm getting the word out there. I'm talking about things. I'm engaging in discussions. I'm getting my opinions out there, and hopefully people agree or disagree with me. But at the very least, you get one takeaway that we might all agree on. And we even see we have some differences in opinion. I think, CB and I probably agree 90% of the time. We have a couple things we disagree on. But we can find that common ground. But we got to start engaging. The last thing that the Democrats want is for us to engage with people who don't agree with us. And I mean engage, have conversations. I think the media doesn't want us engaging either. They want to divide us. Don't let them win. I'm struggling right now because I want so much to get rid of my iPhone. What's my option? Okay, let's go to Google. Get a Google Android phone. Okay, don't like Google either. I've got a Gmail email account that I've had for years. It's my email. I don't want to get a new email. So we're kind of stuck with these things, but we do have some leverage, and hopefully Tim Cook will retire soon, and hopefully someone better will take over Apple. And the people that take over, you got Amazon getting taken over by someone else. People are paying attention more than you think. I don't want an ungoogled phone. I love the iPhone operating system. iOS is great. I love the whole setup that it'll connect with my iPad. It'll connect with my computer. I love all that. I'm addicted to it. They got me hooked. That's my drug. Oh, can I send me a big hug, Melanie? I want to hug you too. Will you marry me? So sending a big hug. So anyway, I'm getting on all these rants, but anyway, don't give up. And, regardless of Apple's leadership being moronic, they make good products. They're kind of underwhelming. I have an iPhone 11. I won't go to the 12 because it's an iPhone 11 with squared off edges. It really has I have an iPhone 11 Pro, and the 12 Pro is the exact same phone with squared off edges, pretty much. Maybe a little bit faster processor. It's insignificant. It's not innovative. So why would I do that? This is the first time since 1997 or 2007 that I haven't had a new iPhone. It's weird, but it is what it is. But seriously, we got some of these products, but we can boycott, we could do things like that. I don't think ultimately boycotts don't help that much, because there's people that work for these companies. I had a part-time job there once, so it wasn't, just extra money, and I got a discount, and I had gotten health insurance through there. So whatever. So I did it. So you hurt the company, you hurt people like me as well. And I'm not a liberal. People talk about, I hang out at a Starbucks. Well, back when I was allowed to, because before COVID, I would hang out at the local Starbucks and work on stuff. I just like being around commotion, around people, because I worked from home. So I had people, I wanted to be around people. So I'd go in the local Starbucks and sit there. Lo and behold, this one guy comes up and talks to me. He noticed I had Drudge Report on my computer. He goes, "Oh, I love Drudge Report." Turns out he was more conservative than I was. So when you're boycotting certain companies for whatever reason, you're affecting other people. And that goes to any liberals that are watching my show. Same thing. In the end, you're not going to hurt the owner of the companies. Tim Cook's still going to make his salary and his stock options and his, millions of dollars of bonuses. He's still going to get it. It's the low end of the totem pole that's ultimately going to get hurt. So temper it with common sense. Go where you can make a difference. School boards, local government offices. I'm thinking of running for something, but I'm also looking into moving. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'll keep you posted, and I'm rambling. Thank you for watching. Everybody stay awesome and be true to yourself. Be true to the country. We are not done yet. Donald Trump did not endure, and Donald Trump supporters did not endure 5 years of hell to just give up. Even in losing, we are winning. Trust me on this. And no, this isn't some QBS where trust the plan. Are we still trusting the plan, by the way? And then which plan are we supposed to trust? I get confused sometimes. So, but seriously, it's brought out a lot of attention. A vast majority of people are concerned with the integrity of our elections. A lot more than voted for Trump. That means a lot of people that voted for Biden are also concerned about it. And even if it doesn't overturn the outcome of the election, no, I mean, it's too late now anyway. But don't you want to know that our elections are at least, and those of you on the left too, don't you want to know that your elections are at least, sound? Or does it not matter because you guys won? And have you noticed that the Democrats are more bitter today than they were in 2016? They literally have full power in Washington, D.C., for the most part. They should be celebrating and excited. They're pissed off. And they want to take it out on you, the voter, the people that supported Donald Trump. Why? Because you dared support the candidate that they disagreed with. And it's kind of interesting seeing how they're all buddy-buddy with George W. Bush now. Remember when George Bush won in 2000? How many people like, not my president, illegitimate president. He was selected, not elected, all that crap. They don't care about George W. Bush. He just serves a purpose because he doesn't like Donald Trump. Of course he doesn't like Donald Trump because Donald Trump showed how ineffective George W. Bush was. Even with the odds stacked against him, Bush could have gotten stuff done like Trump did. Trump got a lot done. But unfortunately, a lot of that was through executive order. And I don't necessarily agree with that. Why? For this exact reason. Obama was president, governed through executive order. Trump basically overturned his executive orders with executive orders. And look what Joe Biden did. They did a graph of executive orders, and Joe Biden has, in his first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever, it looks like the same spike that happened on election night in 5 states. Where all of a sudden it went up, and then you had the Biden spike. It's the same thing. So that's kind of ironic in and of itself. So, but that's the problem. We aren't legislating anymore. We literally have an elected dictator in a sense because everything's being done through executive order. And half the executive orders that Biden is signing at his little ceremonies are blank. Remember how Donald Trump, hell, even Barack Obama would do that. He'd show his, see, I signed it right here. See, this is awesome. Biden's not showing anything. I am not sitting in a recliner across from you. And don't call me daddy. I'm just kidding. I am on your computer screen, though. So, good question. Yeah. John McCain, loved by the left till he ran for president. Yep. It's the same thing. Remember George H.W. Bush at his funeral? I was like, wow, where was this hero president? I don't remember him. They hated George H.W. Bush. But of course, in 2024, it's going to be John F. Kennedy Jr. running for president anyway. All right, I'm digressing. I can't help it. Everybody have an awesome night. Stay out of trouble. And if not, have fun. And I will talk to you soon. Good night.